Hello, y'all. Welcome to Bam Bam Raw TV. I'm Bam Bam, aka the 411 Giant. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you know my next video coming out. On this episode again, I'm answering requests, and I've been hearing a lot. I've been getting a lot of requests for what stories you got about Philly dudes. And my apologies. I've been around some Philly dudes and been some good mans, and the stories I really, unless something big happened or something that stick in my mind happened at that place, because I've been in so many penitentiaries over seven, it it don't stick out to me. I may meet a dude, good dude, solid man, and whatever. We may know each other for 2 years, just passing each other, whatever, blah blah blah. But if it's not something that stand out to me, I really don't. I don't be remembering like that. Now, I do remember of a old head from Philly. I do not know his name. Tall, slim brother. I always older cat now. At that time, I'm about like what 30 something. So I'm gonna say he probably about 50, maybe 54, 55. Tall, slender, kind of slender brother. You know, he was. I think he was Muslim. I do think he was Muslim, but he's from Philly. I know that for a fact. And Philly being meaning brotherly love. So anyway, so Philadelphia mean brotherly love. Anyway, so I'm down there. I see the old man. I ain't been there. I've been there long. I see how he moved. So I had big respect for him. He didn't say no whole lot, but he kind of said some positive stuff. But you can tell again, as I had said about Philadelphia before. Philadelphia and DC dudes walk a lot alike because they walk like boxers. They walk on the ball of their foot. They got the wide shoulders from doing pull ups and stuff. So and they pretty they like cats on their foot. They pretty agile. They turn a corner every when they turn a corner and they move or they make a movement. It's always the setup. They legs if they put their foot here, this leg this foot gonna be behind them to set them up if they to keep them from being knocked backwards or pushed backwards. If they do their hand this way, or if anything they do, it's already the other hand is set up for if they slide at you this way. If you miss this other hand, it's already set up to come. So it's a lot of boxing technique, and which I don't know about, but Philly and DC dudes got that in common. But you could tell the way the old man was a stepper, the way he moved. And he was somebody, but he didn't talk his business going on. But he was respected. I respected him. Well, you couldn't do nothing but respect it because he carried with respect. Soft spoken, always had something decent to say to you. But I do remember he was from Philly. And so he laid there one day. I seen him. I had a partner, homeboy from California. He was a fire traveler named Papa G. He was a soldier. He was calling the shots for the crib at some prank down there. But I assisted him when he got into it. The police, I ran in his cell and got the knife and hid the knife. And he glared on the police and ran out of the cell while they were chasing him. I went in there. Capone told me what a knife was, so I went in there and grabbed the knife and we got rid of it. So he didn't get caught for the knife, but he got caught for assault on a police officer, and he went to Marion for it. So anyway, now, fire traveler, Papa G, good soldier. I always have been a solid, respectful soldier. One day, I seen him and the old man go in the cell. So I see him and the old man go in the cell. I said, man, what the hell going on? So I said, I know Papa G ain't beefing with the old head like that, man. So Papa G know better than that. He moved better than that. So I go get some of his people. I said, come on, man, let's what's up, Fats? Let's go down here, man, see what's up with Papa G, man, cause if he finna fight this dude, man, let's y'all Crips, I'm bringing y'all down here, man, cause that ain't right, man. Man, look here, we heard by the time we got there, by the time we got to the door, all you hear was, I said, man, shit, they in there fighting. So we snapped the door open, blah. We snapped the door and we looking. And the dude, the old dude, got pads. They done made some pads. And he training Papa G how to fight. And so he training, so we looked at, we like, man, what Papa G like, man, what's going on? Man, we thought you were in here fighting this man, blase, bro. You know, we know, all right, man, we know about that. That's our bad and going on. And so we stepped back out there. The dude was actually training me. Papa G told me later on, he said, man, look here. He said, man, I'm from California. I've been shooting I've been banging and shooting since I was a kid. I ain't never had the opportunity or have been in a situation where I pretty much just have to fight. I'm more for slanging iron. He said, so you got y'all country boys, y'all strong as an ox. Y'all grab him up and wrestle him down or hold him and beat him down. Y'all strong as an ox. The DC dude know how to box. The Philly dude know how to box. The other dudes got this. He said, man, I ain't got no gun in here. He said, man, I'm learning how to survive and overcome in this situation. He said, man, I'm gonna learn how, if I can't get to my knife, I'm gonna learn how to put these hands on them up until I can get to it. You know, I couldn't do nothing but respect it. I couldn't do nothing but respect it, man. He said, shit, y'all country boy, y'all so strong, you get a hold to so. He said, no, man. He said, I'm trying to learn how to fight. I'm in penitentiary. I'm trying to learn how to fight. And that's what he did. He said, man, I never had, Papa G was a cold man. It didn't mean nothing because he couldn't fight. He was a cold man. He wasn't used to fight. He come up in an environment where you was shooting from the get-go. And I gave much respect for him for acknowledging that. When you're acknowledging your shortcoming, then you fix them. You seal that hole up. And him and the old head, I still do not remember the old head name, but the old head, man, I remember I used to always give him so much. I always gave him respect anyway, but I was proud of him for taking the time to teach somebody like Papa G who wanted to learn how to box. But that's the first story that I can remember from about a guy named, a guy from Philly. But I also remember Panama, when we was in Lewisburg. We was in Lewisburg and some stuff happened, some stuff break out down there and everything, and the police was out of line with what they was doing. And Panama he was on it. He said we ain't gonna let them do them men's like that. He didn't care where they from or whatever, but he loved his people. He like, man, we ain't finna let that happen like that. Panama, little skinny son, go with long dreads and everything. He actually, if I remember correctly, he was going to court, or he was not going to court, but he was steady fighting his case. And I think he got a few life sentences for involvement in a police getting killed, a shootout with the police. And he had a couple of life sentences for that, in which the police got killed, but he was steady fighting for his innocence, that he wasn't the person who did it, that he wasn't there. But that's what he was in there for. If I remember correctly, I used to talk to him all the time. He was always putting stuff together, organization stuff together. Hey, get along in a unit, do this and do this here. And when the police had jumped a dude and did a dude bad and over a situation, I mean, man, they gassed us because of him, because Panama was trying to get at him. He was trying to get at him, and they gassed all us on that range. They locked the door on the range, and they just gassed us and locked us down. They locked us down for 2 weeks. But he was a solid dude, a slim dude, solid dude. But what he said was, what y'all people who may know him may remember, he said he was actually the king of reggaeton. He said he is the one who started reggaeton. He used to get on the phone and he would do whole songs on the phone. In the phone room, you can hear him doing whole, I don't know if the people was recording it. He said the guy General, who was hot at that time doing reggaeton, he said he stole his style. He stole it. And I mean, he was good at it. And he was always, that was one of his biggest arguments, That dude General, he stole my style. General ain't the man. He ain't the real man. He don't know. I'm the one created reggaeton, man. Blah blah blah. I think he was involved with a radio, with some other stuff too, and he was doing music and everything. But yeah, he's called in Panama, and he was from I think I'm pretty sure he's from Philly. And the last incident from Philly, I guess that would be in West Hazleton, in which is no scar on their record. I mean, they some men's, but I remember when I was at Hazleton for that little short time, Abu, one of my DC homeboys, he had a situation with him where he had took something from one of them, and he didn't take it from him exactly, but he had took something from his property, and there was a big beefing going on, and DC dudes was they was okay, man, but then they was really like, hey man, whatever happened, we don't know what's going on. Let's get to the bottom of it. But then the Philadelphia dude is like, hey man, we don't see no DC dudes. We don't care nothing about that. We don't blah blah blah. If this ain't that, this ain't that, and this ain't that. And the antennas went up on the DC men that were there. They made the Philadelphia dudes. They throwed it out there, and they was pretty deep down there because I don't know what's the locality and how the closeness, the geographical closeness of Philadelphia being to West Virginia, but they was pretty deep and they got visited, and so the word got back to one of the men who top men from DC, and it's like that's how they feel about it. They went in on them. They started going in on them. They started going in them. Some of them was putting up some good squabbles going on, but they end up basically running them all in. And the only one they didn't run in was a homeboy that was from Texas. He had a girl in Philadelphia, and he had never said two words to me since he had been on the compound. But another homeboy from Texas who knew me from another penitentiary told him that the DC dudes had big respect for me, and by him being from Texas, he should come holler at me. Can he be from the South instead of being ran up there because he get visits and he do this and all that. And so he came to me, and I'm gonna just call him D. He came to me and hollered at me and everything, and we made an agreement on some stuff, and we made an arrangement. And once we made the arrangement, I went around and hollered at some of the DC dudes, and some of the main men and explained to them, well, he with the South was going on. He had relations up there and everything, but he with us, he rolling with us. I got him and everything like that. And they fell back and left him alone. He actually went home, got the opportunity to go home. I said, he's short, he ain't getting in nothing, he blase, and they like, all right, man, if you say it then. So boom, so we was good on that. But he was like I said, he had a girl, and he actually went back to Philly when he got out of penitentiary. Matter of fact, he actually sent me money a couple of times, looked out for me. But those the stories that I recollect concerning, some of the Philly dudes that I've been around. That don't mean that's the standard for Philly dudes. You know what I'm saying? It's just those are the ones that I can have a conversation about. All right? Hey, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you know my next video coming out. Okay? Peace.